With the release of the Chainsaw Man collab on the Nikki mobile game, it's been having me thinking about what I would want in a Chainsaw Man game. And I don't mean a mobile game or anything like that. I mean a next-gen PS5 Chainsaw Man game. Chainsaw Man is one of the biggest anime slash manga to drop in the last 3 years, and eventually it's going to get a game. And as an anime fan, I would like to talk about what I would like to see in a Chainsaw Man game. For anyone that hasn't read Chainsaw Man, there will be spoilers for all the part 1, so if you don't want to get spoiled, click off this video now. I appreciate it. Come back later whenever you finish the manga or whenever the anime comes out. But for now, I just don't want y'all to get spoiled. But here is what I want out of a Chainsaw Man game. Before we start getting into the gameplay and story, I want to stress that these are the 3 companies that I don't want to make the Chainsaw Man game. I believe that if you're going to make a video like this or make an idea for what you want a game to be and you're not making the game, you should come up with a company or a few companies that you believe should make the game or can make the game to the best of your mental ability that you have in mind for the game. These are 3 companies that I don't want to make the game. That doesn't mean these companies are bad. That don't mean the games that these companies make are bad or anything like that. It's just that these companies do not have the expertise in this field of the game that I want this Chainsaw Man game to be. These companies are Spike Chunsoft, Dimps, and CyberConnect 2. All 3 of these companies have some stinkers in their library, but they also have anime arena fighters that are good. And these is no shade to them. It's just that I believe that the companies that I'm recommending to make this game would be better at making the Chainsaw Man game that I want. For the Chainsaw Man game that y'all would like, if you would like an arena fighter, these 3 are probably some of the best at making good arena fighters for anime, and they could probably live up to y'all standards, which is awesome. But for this video, I just want to talk about these 2 specific companies about why I think they can make my dream Chainsaw Man game. And that is Platinum Games and Capcom. Platinum Games is known as the people that made Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and stuff like that. They are some of the highest in making action games. Capcom is known for a lot of things, such as Mega Man, Resident Evil, and fighting games and stuff like that, such as Street Fighter. But I also know Capcom as some of the creators behind Devil May Cry. I want this Chainsaw Man game to either be made by Platinum Games or Capcom, and I feel like if you know where I'm going with, you know those games, I want Chainsaw Man to be an action adventure game, more like third person. We're going through levels, like we're going through, like, for example, Devil May Cry, we're going through 20 levels, we're going against awesome bosses, we're having amazing combos, we're having gameplay that just makes you feel like you're actually the character, that you get to choose what you want the character to do, and you're not fighting against other people. You're fighting against enemies in the way that this Chainsaw Man game would be. You're fighting against devils and devil bosses and maybe even like human characters. I'll talk about that more, but these are the 2 companies that I would be fine with taking the helm of making a Chainsaw Man game. And as you can tell, this is definitely a dream because this is probably not going to happen when the Chainsaw Man game happens, but this is my dream. This is my dream. Next, I want to go into a little bit of gameplay before I go into the story of what I think the Chainsaw Man game will be, which will be the spoiler-filled sections. I'll be going into manga territory, so if you don't want to get spoiled, like I said in the beginning, stop watching the video. So I want this game to be, like I said, either Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. So right now, I want it to be a single-player game where it's basically you going through different levels, fighting devils, going across an area, and going against multiple bosses, crazy bosses. Like, I want Devil May Cry, Bayonetta's type bosses for these devils. I want it to be crazy and insane. And I also want the same leveling up skill system as Bayonetta and Devil May Cry does. In those games, they usually have an in-game currency such as red orbs and stuff like that. And you basically destroy enemies, kill enemies, and go through the level, destroy items and stuff like that. You'll accumulate more red orbs, and those red orbs are basically used to where you can go to your skill menu or your item menu, and you're able to buy more abilities for your character, which will be Denji. So you can buy more abilities and more moves to use in your combos and stuff like that. And that's how I want the progression of this game to be. I want it to be where you go across these maps, you're fighting bosses, fighting just normal mooks and enemies, and you destroy them, and you basically get red orbs or get like blood or blood orbs from these enemies, and you get to use that in your skill system to basically get new moves. Like maybe you get a move where Denji like goes up into the air and like transforms into Chainsaw Man and like explodes chainsaws everywhere or something. Or you unlock new moves to where Denji can like heal while he's not doing anything. Like maybe if he's walking across a map, you unlock an ability that allows him to just heal or something like that. So basically, if you played Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, you basically know the system I'm talking about, or any other like action game where you basically get to unlock more moves, like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The more you destroy people and kill people, the more I forget what they're called in that game. Basically the red orbs of that game, and you unlock new abilities. That's what I really want this game to be. I know a lot of people like anime games to have like arena fighter stuff and more multiplayer based because it gives more replayability, but with how anime games are, I think I really am tired of people making arena fighters and them not putting the effort to make the game last long, because people always say that, oh, multiplayer makes it last longer, but it doesn't make it last longer if it has bad netcode or you can't play online really. I'd rather have a single player game that's short but it has awesome boss fights and awesome gameplay to where I want to keep going back and replaying it so I can get better and better at the game. There's nothing wrong with single player games. There's nothing wrong with these type of games. But I also came up with a co-op idea to where maybe we can have co-op. Maybe we can have people hopping online and people hopping on local, and y'all are both going through maps fighting bosses with maybe 2 characters. Like, that's why I'm thinking I want this game to be a single player game, but if we do have to put multiplayer in it, I would be fine with a co-op set like system, like where you and a friend go online, y'all either pick Denji, Power, maybe Aki, maybe Makima as an unlockable character, maybe Beam, maybe even Bomb Girl, stuff like that, and you get to like go across maps and just fight bosses and enemies together, and that'd be really, really cool. And we also have different like difficulties, like normal, like easy, normal, hard, extreme hard, devil difficulty and stuff like that. I think it'll be really, really cool. But like I said, I want to go into more detail about bosses and stuff like that. So with this game, like I said, it's a single player game with combos and getting red orbs to get stronger and fighting multiple enemies. But I also, in those bosses, I want the bosses to be hard. I want this game to be a hard game and not easy. Like, I want these bosses to actually like challenge you. Maybe even Elden Ring-esque type bosses where you really got to learn the boss and actually get good at the game, and they're not easy. Like, this is what's going to make the game more challenging and more demanding, and also can increase replayability, because it'll feel better that like, oh, you beat this boss after it took you so long because you got better at the game and better at the mechanics. Maybe even mechanics like a parry system, where some bosses you can't beat them without a parry, like in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Or maybe even like you got to learn how to really use Chainsaw Man's mobility, or even the other characters that I talked about earlier's mobility to really beat these bosses. And also, I know some people don't like QTEs, but I want QTEs in this game. I want amazing QTEs or amazing like animations during the boss fights. I want talking, I want visuals, I want the voice actors to go crazy from the anime. I want this game to just look amazing and be the pinnacle of anime games. Like, I know I didn't want CyberConnect to make this game, but if CyberConnect did make this game, I know that they would put a lot into those animations, because they did amazing with the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot animations and the Naruto Storm animations, even Demon Slayer and stuff like that. So that's the type of animations I want, and I know that Capcom and Platinum Games can definitely make those type of animations. That's why I picked them over CyberConnect 2 and stuff like that. But I'm hoping y'all are getting what I'm saying with the gameplay. I basically want it to be Devil May Cry or Bayonetta-esque and stuff like that. I want a skill system to where you can unlock more moves for your characters. And I want it to be a single player game, but if we do put co-op in this game, it would be cool to have co-op with multiple characters and multiple different like devils and stuff like that that I talked about, and even having skill systems for them and being able to play with multiple characters. So I do want multiple characters in this game, and I wouldn't mind a co-op, but like I said, I don't want like any multiplayer, like any like arena fighter or fighting against another player. If you and a player are working together in the same map, working up, fighting the bosses together and fighting with different abilities, I think that's cool. And like I said, I do want multiple characters. I do want Denji. You know, Denji is the main character, so he's got to be in the game. But if we get multiple characters like Power and Aki and the Bomb Girl and Beam and Makima and Quan Chi and Kirifumi, like, it would be really, really cool. And even Kobani, even I'll take anyone. Like, I'll take basically anyone as playable characters. But most likely, if they did make this game, it would probably only have like 3 playable characters, which would be probably Denji, Power, and Aki, since they're mostly through every single fight in part 1. Which, let's get into the story. So, the story section of what I want for this game, like I said, I want it to be like maybe like 20 levels, like in Devil May Cry. But most levels are gonna end with a boss and stuff like that. And these are the bosses that I want in the game. And also, remember, this is spoilers and stuff like that. We're gonna get into spoilers. So I want Denji versus the Bat Devil. I want the Eternity Devil, the Katana Devil, the Bomb Devil, Santa Claus, Quan Chi. And I want Quan Chi in the game, but I want the fight with Quan Chi to feel like you're playing against Virgil. Like, because Quan Chi doesn't really have like crazy like blowing up abilities. She's like a hand-to-hand fighter, and I think that would be a really cool boss fight. I want the Darkness Devil in the game, but I want the Darkness Devil to not even be like a real boss. I want it to be like Urizen from Devil May Cry 5, where you're not supposed to beat the Darkness Devil. It's like super unbeatable, but I want him in the game. I want the Gun Devil where it's Denji versus Aki as the Gun Devil. I think it would be a really emotional fight. It would definitely give me vibes of like Naruto Storm 4 when you're the final boss fight with Naruto versus Sasuke, something like that. Denji fighting as the Chainsaw Man against all the devils when basically Makima tried to like jump him as the Chainsaw Man and basically has to like kill them in like that new form and stuff like that. Also, thing I forgot to forget in the gameplay section, I definitely do want like stuff like devil triggers in this game, like how Denji could turn into basically like the Chainsaw Man, basically Poshita at the end of the part 1. I want him to like turn into that. Basically, you have to unlock it at the end of the game, and basically when you go through like other reruns or replaying of the story mode, you basically have that form. That's off topic, but also the final boss fight of the game, which I want this game to cover all of part 1, but knowing how anime games work, they probably won't do that. But if this is my dream game, so I'm gonna say it, for the final boss fight, I want it to be Denji versus Makima, but I want Denji in this fight to basically not fight as like the normal Chainsaw Man throughout the game. So basically, if you know, at the end of part 1, Denji fights Makima with basically just a chainsaw, basically just a chainsaw, and I want that. I want that as the final boss fight. I want it to be the hardest boss fight in the game. I want it to be really cool because you're not gonna be able to fight as you normally would, and also to have like amazing cutscenes and stuff like that in between the fight, and it would just be really cool. It would be really cool. I want the game to end with basically Denji versus Makima. Basically, I believe it was in that cemetery and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. I think that'd be really cool. So that's what I want. It'll basically be like 20 levels where you're basically going through all of that and fighting against random devils on the side of the street while you're fighting. Basically, like I said, Devil May Cry. And I think that would be really cool. Really cool. Like, I really want this game to exist. Like, the more and more I talk about it, the more and more ideas I just come up with, especially with the whole devil trigger thing. It would be just so cool. It would probably be like one of the best anime games ever made. But like I said, the anime and game industry is definitely more of a cash grab, more than like they putting their heart and soul into these games. But that's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts on what I would want from a Chainsaw Man game. Let me know down below what y'all would want from a Chainsaw Man game. What bosses would you want? What mechanics would you want? What characters would you want? Because like I said, I'm fine with anyone being a playable character, but I'm most likely thinking it's going to be just Denji, Aki, and Power. But I would take anyone. I would love to play as Makima. I'd love to play as Bomb Girl. I would love if everyone has their own skill tree and unique moves. It would just be so good. The more and more I talk about it, just be so good. But let me know what y'all think down below. Like I said, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and hit that bell button, post it consistently. And thank you guys for watching the video. I'm gonna see you guys later. Peace.